Okay, so Unit 2 assignment. So as it is, this probably is not perfect just because I'm more geared to teaching face-to-face than I definitely am online. So Jose did spot an issue, and I will cover all that as we go through this. What I wanted to do is I wanted to have you do several different things in this one unit. You will create a newsletter, do a usability study, and create a formal email. So in the workplace, you probably will do all three of these at one point in your career. I know that UCT up at the school did a usability study probably around the 1st of April to see if it would benefit the employees at UHCL if they did a newsletter for us, and how often would it help us if we had a newsletter. And so they have created a newsletter, and it comes out every 2 weeks, and it keeps us updated on stuff that's going on and different programs they're bringing in. And you can just imagine all the rest of it, but it's really helpful. But they did this usability study beforehand and did a survey and sent out a prototype newsletter to a few of us to proofread and work with it before they said, okay, this is what we're really going to do, and we're going to roll this out. And they knew their audience and their purpose by that point. So what I want you to do is almost the same thing with the same idea, but I want you to do it with your fields. So it doesn't have to be a technical document or a technical writing issue. No, but it will end up being a technical writing issue if you understand what I'm going through with this. So most of you are learning more stuff about your field, especially now your junior, senior year. You probably have documents that professors have already assigned to you. You can use those if they fit in with your subtopic. So what I want you to do today is come up with your group, identify a topic, and this is going to be your umbrella topic. So cybersecurity is a huge field. There are several subtopics dealing with cybersecurity topics. Figure out 4 or 5 or 6 of them, however many are in your group, and each person gets a different subtopic, but it all falls under the umbrella topic of cybersecurity. So if you picture a newsletter, you can put cybersecurity across the top, and then each person has its own little subtopic that they're going to research and talk about. And is this the same topic selected for the newsletter that's selected for the newsletter, the same topic for the rest of the assignments? Only this unit. It won't be the same for Unit 3 or Unit 4 or Unit 5. What you're going to use for the topic in Unit 2 will be for everything. And you'll see as I go through this document why it will be the case. All right, next page. Okay, so once your subtopic is chosen, it is yours. Start your research. Like I said, if you already have peer-reviewed journal articles from a class, you can use them if it fits in with your subtopic. If you need to change your subtopic within your group, by all means, make sure that you let them know because you have found a document that you want to use. You should have 2 articles from a database and 1 article that can be from an internet source. But make sure you check the validity of your internet source. You cannot use blogs or somebody's opinion. You look them up, make sure that they have credentials that meet with what they're talking about. For instance, I do literature. If I write something about math, probably not. I don't have those credentials to make those kind of claims. It would be absolutely opinionated if I write something down about math or IT or biology or all the fields that I basically work with all of you. Then you're going to draft a prototype. This is not going to be the final version probably, but it is going to be something that looks like a newsletter. Select the one person that can do graphics and work with templates. You should know who that person is because guess what? You guys did a brochure. Who is that person that really came through and could do all the graphics and get everything set up and everything looks great? You also have to pick a person that pays attention to small things because all the head-ends have to be equal and the font has to be equal. So even if you send it in Times New Roman font and they're using Georgia font on the newsletter, they have to change it. So pick that person that knows how to do all that and can do it fairly quickly and get it done. Then all the rest of you want to actually synthesize all your sources and write up 300 to 350 words about what your subtopic is about to let your audience know. Citations, everything needs to go in your section. So citations, who wrote it? I need to know who wrote it. So whoever is setting it up needs to let me know that. If you have a team member that does not do their work, by all means, whoever designs it, have a section form, leave it blank. Put their name, leave it blank. You guys do not have time to research their subtopic and put everything down for them. You cannot do their work also. So this is, while it's a group project, you're really graded very individually on this. So keep that in mind. If you drop the ball and you don't get your stuff to that design person, they don't have to put it in there and they can leave your stuff blank. But nobody else is responsible for your work but you. So moving into the usability study, once you got this prototype done and it looks like it's good, now you're going to have to design a memo for me. So whoever needs to get in there and look at memo templates, which I'm jumping a little ahead, but in this memo, you're going to answer these questions that I have. So everybody in your group has to review Chapter 13. Does not mean read it word for word from one page to the other, but review everything in Chapter 13. Divide this up. So like Jose, you have 6 people in your group, I believe. Divide up these questions, divide and conquer. Let me know who does it. Each person should have about a paragraph. So when you're talking about considering the 3 factors, importance, time, and money, that should be about a paragraph to answer all that. The stuff that I need to know. So one person would do that. And then determine the goal of your study. Why are you even doing this newsletter? What is the purpose for it? Like I told you at UHCL, UCT had a huge purpose and what their goal was, because our stuff went from face-to-face to online. So they had to become a huge support system for faculty so that we could survive during the semester. That was big, some of their goal, and that's what changed. Did it cost money to do this? Sure did. It costs a lot of money. So it's one of those things I want you to look at and think about as you're going through this. What is actually taking place and what are you trying to do? Do this for all of these questions. They continue on that 3rd page. And then evaluators. Whoever gets this last section, somebody has to come up with criteria and guidelines. When you roll out your newsletter, you're going to have to pick 1 to 2 evaluators. Shouldn't be classmates from technical writing, but they should be from other classes. So grab some friends from your other classes that you have made, lab buddies, whatever it may be, and you're going to send them this newsletter, and they're going to have to evaluate it. Somebody has to come up with criteria. What are you looking for? What kind of stuff, if you want constructive feedback, what do you want to get? What do you want them to tell you? And think about that goal again, and think about the importance of the newsletter. It was very obvious to us when UCT rolled out the newsletter prototype what they were trying to do. And they had a write-up. This is what we were doing. We need this kind of feedback. We're looking for this. Have we left anything out that you might need, et cetera, et cetera. So somebody has to come up with those criteria guidelines. And then once that's done and you have your prototype, send it to your evaluators and see what kind of results you get. So John asked, in a group of 6 people, 5 to 6 people, we would have 10 to 12 evaluations. Yes, or you could have 1. Now, it depends on your time frame. You could have 5 to 6 evaluations. But some of you might want to, you have 2 people that you can really depend on to give you some really good feedback. Send it to those 2 people. I would suggest sending it to 2 because you might only get 1 back. Because, again, we're right in the middle of a semester, so it depends on how busy your friends are. But it shouldn't take that long. Don't make the criteria so much that it would bog somebody down. Because, again, you're working with fellow students, so they're just as busy as you are. So you want something that would take maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops to review and evaluate and give you feedback. And then you have to get this feedback and collect it. So don't get rid of it by any means. Find that memo template, that's number 5. After you get all of this answered about the usability study, you're going to design this memo. It should not be made out to me. Who is your audience? It's really not me. I'm more copied than I am your to audience, just because I'm not in your field. If I were a computer science major, then yes, I would be in the to field, but I'm not. I'm a literature major, so you definitely don't want to put me in the to field, but you can copy me on this. And who else could you possibly copy? Do appropriate title. You should have something that says usability subject or study. But again, tell me what you have found out in that usability study in a phrase. That would be a good subject line. Then make sure in the from field that you list everybody in your group and then put the current date. And then this is what the usability study should have in it. Number 6, the introduction. The body, that's where all those questions from above in number 4 come in. You can bullet them. You can place them in paragraph form. But again, remember to make it look professional. Have a conclusion. The references, anything that you went and studied or looked at or referred to, by all means, make sure you cite it. Your citation should be what you use in your field. So I should have no citations that are in the MLA whatsoever, or usually APA. Very few subjects use APA. So whatever you use them for your field, make sure you use that citation. And then the appendix is not only this evaluation criteria guideline that somebody designed, but it's also the prototype of the newsletter. So I'm going to need that too. And then make sure that you label who did what work so that I know exactly who did what and who was responsible for that. And if there's a section that is blank, then definitely tell me who was supposed to do that so that I know they didn't do that part of the usability study. Then after you get all this done, compose an email from the whole team to me and report the results from your evaluations. So if you look starting on page 356 of the chapter 13, you'll see how to make this, how to report the results. You should probably have a graph of some sort. Let me know what they really said. And then also, if you could attach your a picture. There we go. I knew I'd find that word. A picture of all the evaluations that you got back with their names, so I know they went somewhere. And that will be an attachment to an email. And if you're not sure how to do an attachment with an email, make sure you look it up. And then finally, when this is all done and you've got all the emails and you know the results and you can look at this newsletter, analyze it, revise it. If you have questions, by all means, at that point, drag me in and then submit your newsletter. One person will probably be responsible for submitting the memo, submitting the email, and then submitting the newsletter. If you want to pick 3 different people, you can. That is absolutely up to you, who you pick, but make sure that they're responsible and that they can get in there and make sure that it's submitted before the due date. And if you have any issues, by all means, let me know. Let's see. think I've answered all the questions. Anybody got anything else to add? It all sounded really good in my head when I typed it up. I just want to let you all know that.
I believe I understand.
Cool. It actually sounds a lot better when I explain it than when I read it out. But, you know, that was what we were supposed to have class for this week. So, okay, cool. Anybody else have any concerns? Anything how you're supposed to work? Again, I cannot stress enough, don't do anybody else's work for them. Find somebody responsible. In this, you should set up your own due dates of when you want stuff to be given to you so that you can get it and put it all together. Or if you're working on Google Docs or something like that where everybody can get in there and put their own stuff in, by all means, every group is, in this class actually, is set up a little differently with how they're corresponding and putting all their stuff together. But I would leave due dates up to you because you should have internal due dates that are before my actual due dates when the finalized version is due. So now last night, one of the other students in class had a question about finding articles on the database. Do I need to go over any of that? I kind of leave it up to you guys to guide me along on what you need at this point. Yes, that's through the school library, and you can access that from home, same sign-in. Yes, you can access it. Whatever you use to sign into Blackboard is what you will use to sign into the library homepage. And then you will have access to all the databases and everything that the library has.
Is there a due date for the newsletter prototype?
Not for me.
Okay.
That will be, you should have that done with the evaluators picked out for the usability study. So you'll almost have to set your own due dates for that. Now, I can check on the calendar. Like by tomorrow, you should have your prototype done. Kind of gave you some hints on the calendar of how to go about it. Friday, you should have an idea of starting that usability study, who's going to do what part of it. The usability study should be done by Monday, which I know this is, you know, absolutely moving fast, but the usability study, other than the evaluators, doesn't take a lot of time. And if you don't get the responses back by the evaluators, that's fine. I just need to see the guidelines in the memo. So you can have all of that done by Monday night. Then I would give the evaluators, sooner you get them the prototype of the newsletter, obviously the better. Get that done. I would start gathering data as soon as possible by next Thursday. You should be trying to figure out what kind of stuff you see, any patterns, then get ready to compose that email. And then by the following Tuesday, the final version of the newsletter is done. So this is a pretty fast unit, but everything kind of ties in together. So most of you should have your topics and subtopics done. If not, definitely by tonight, get them finished up, know who's doing what, and then start this. And if you don't get the prototype done by Thursday night, then you get it done by Friday. Again, that's kind of up to you. But
Is it
as
the same group as last? Are we in the same group?
Yes, you are in the same group. You'll be in the same group all semester long. So it would probably be too hard for me to out group people not meeting face to face. Any more questions about Unit 2? So I know a couple of you came in a little later. If you want to stay after everybody leaves, that's perfectly fine. I can answer questions then. Anything else on Blackboard you might have a question with? I would recommend, if you have not sent your resume into Career Services, to get on that and do that. That's just an email, and attach your draft that you already composed for me and send it to them. I would probably say, well, from what I've seen, you need to send it more than once. When we start Unit 3, then you'll have to come up with your final resume, and they really do a good job working with it. And there is a video that Chuck Crocker has given me that I posted. I recommend you watch that. He gives you a lot of good information about what to do when you get ready to graduate from the school and how to prepare yourself to find jobs. And then the only other thing that I would like to bring to your attention is in Unit 5. Unit 5. There is an assignment. In the unit assignment, it is a speaker critique. You can do this at any point of this during the semester. You do not have to wait to the very end. And there are some Zoom things you could probably go to if you wanted to do the speaker critique about Zoom. But you'd have to let me know in advance. Other than that, you can do that one. Who need from Career Service? Yes, Jose. So when you get your feedback from them, that is part of that assignment to also turn in. So you can take a screenshot, save it as a JPEG, and then turn it in saying, yes, this is the thing I got back for services with their feedback.
Do we each send our own email, the evaluator email?
No, you will comprise it together. So one person puts all the results together. So as a team, what your group, Kenny, is doing with Jose on Discord is you'll get together and all of you should post your results from your evaluators and then come together with some kind of discuss it, because I know you guys get on a lot and discuss it. Discuss it, see what you come up with. Somebody should compose an email. All of you should agree that's exactly what you want it to say, then send it to me. That probably is the easiest part of this whole assignment.
Okay.
Yeah, don't make that email very hard. As long as it gets done and it has all your names on it, the ones that, you know, actually put everything in there, then by all means, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about the resume. Since you guys want to jump into Unit 3 and talk about the resume a little bit, let's visit with that. Okay, you guys gave me a copy of your draft. A lot of them needed major work done to it, just because they're not professional enough to send out to corporations ready for a professional job that is in your field. And especially if you have retail or wait and tables experience, you need to really work with them more than once to fix that and make it look like you're going into this job field and you're leaving that behind. So what you need to do is send your resume in. You'll get feedback. Probably need to send it in more than once. And when you send it in, part of the instructions is to pick a job. So go online, find a job that you think you want to do after you graduate. So it can't be a manager job or I'm head of the hospital job. It has to be something that you will be qualified for with your degree the day you graduate from UHCL. Send that, if you can, send that with your document, your resume to career services, because they'll tell you right away that each job you go to, you're going to have to change your resume up a little bit. So that will help them gear, especially just looking at your resume and knowing what field you're going into, that will help them gear, okay, they really kind of want to do this. So send all that to them. When you get ready to post the final resume for me, I need the job post that you found, that you sent with it, the feedback comments on the original resume that you sent in, which again could be a screenshot, and then your updated, beautiful resume that is ready to be sent out to a corporation for that assignment. And as much as I hate to say all my other assignments in this class are important, this is probably the most important assignment you will do with me all semester long to get you ready to leave this school and find a job. All this other stuff you need to know, you will use when you're on the job. Everything that you do in this class is interview material. I've designed a newsletter. I've did a usability study. I performed in a group. That's all stuff you say in an interview. But that resume actually gets you that interview, and that's really important for you to get a hold of and work with. Does that help? Jose and Danny, at least? Cool.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I know you said that we should be sending our resumes to career services. I know you said some people also send a draft to you. So should I send you a draft of my resume, or should I just send it straight to career services?
You already sent me a draft. If you turned it in for the draft time, that was due second week of the semester. Can't remember when I had the draft due. Second week, first week, somewhere around there. But it was a completion grade that you just sent it. So even if you didn't send me the draft, then that you didn't lose much by all means. But don't send me the draft.
Okay, it goes to career services.
Yeah, because I'll see all their comments on your draft.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So even if you didn't turn it in, I'll know it. So, and they're used to working with my students in tech writing every semester. So they know you're getting ready to do that. Yeah, the wonderful hurricane did mess up that due date. Messed up my face-to-face classes this week with the tropical storm. And last week I had no power and no internet, so I'm doing really good right now. At least I have internet back and I do have power.
Living off the grid.
What'd you say?
Living off the grid.
I'm telling you. It's really hard to move off the grid when you really have to use technology for your job.
Right.
It just, and of course, you know, when you live in Houston, it's really hard to move off a grid. But that's in my future one day. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I have a whole bunch of circles showing up on my assignment. Cool. Any more questions? I do appreciate your patience with me all last week.
No problem.
Yeah, anything I had to work with, I had to do on a hotspot, and that is not fun. Especially after you run out of your data on your hotspot and it slows you down to absolutely nothing. Yeah, we won't get into that. But yeah, I do appreciate your patience, and I will get around to tomorrow and Friday are my 2 days that I'm going to just sit and grade all day long and get caught up again. So, but I did want to have this class for Unit 2 and go from there. All right, if we don't have any more questions, by all means, I would say get busy. And again, I'll be around for at least till 9 or 10 o'clock tonight to answer any more questions if you have any. You might think of a question right after we get off Collaborate. Just text me. I won't have any problem answering them. I'm all for that. All right, if you're done, I'm done. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Stay safe.
All right. Thanks, Kendall.